Hello everyone and welcome to 40 Questions. My name is Stephen Walker and tonight I have the privilege of speaking with an old friend and colleague, Lorenzo Paran. Good evening, Lorenzo.
Good evening, Stephen. Hi everyone.
It's been maybe 18 years since we worked together here in Korea, so this is a nice reunion show. So first, for our viewers, Lorenzo, where are you from?
I am from the Philippines.
The Philippines. And for people that don't know where the Philippines is, where is the Philippines?
The Philippines is in Asia, and it's in the southeast portion of the continent, to be exact. And we're located south of Taiwan, east of Vietnam, and northeast of Malaysia.
Okay, so good Southeast Asian country.
Exactly.
And the nationality of people from the Philippines, you are?
I would be considered a Filipino, like the rest of the Filipinos, the people who live in the Philippines.
And so the Philippines is spelled with a PH. Filipino
is spelled with an F. Right? It's a little weird, but that's how we've always done it.
That's how you roll.
That's how we roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, Filipinos with an F, Philippines with a PH.
Got it. All right. And the population, now the Philippines are many islands.
That's correct.
How many?
Well, there's a joke that goes, you know, if they ask you how many islands are in the Philippines, the Filipino always asks, high tide or low tide? So, but roughly there's about 7,000 islands.
About 7,000
in the Philippines. Yeah, and give or take a few islands.
And so the population of these 7,000 islands is about?
As of the last estimate, it's about 107 million.
107
people.
million.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the capital city is?
And the capital city is Manila.
Manila. And so the population of Manila?
And the population of the greater Manila area is estimated at about 12 million.
12 million.
You know, based on the latest estimates.
And Manila is located on which island?
So the Philippines is made up of three major island groups, and the capital is located in the biggest of those three, and that's known as Luzon.
Luzon. And you are from?
And I am from a region called Bicol, that's south of Manila. And yeah, it's famous for the Mayon volcano, which some of you may be familiar with.
Okay. All right, Lorenzo, we're in Unit 2, and it's about shapes, sizes, and appearances. And so the Filipino flag, what color is your flag?
The colors that are represented in the Philippine flag are red, white, yellow, and blue.
Red, white, yellow, and blue.
That's correct.
And the next question is the appearance of the flag. So what does the flag look like?
So the flag is generally divided into two halves, and those are represented by the red and blue colors with the blue on top.
Blue's on top.
Blue on top.
So it's a rectangular flag.
That's correct.
Two horizontal stripes.
With the blue on top and the red on the bottom.
Okay.
Unless we're at war, in which case the two colors are switched.
Okay.
So the red would be on top and the blue would be on the bottom.
But now we're at peace.
But at peacetime, and you know, and under normal circumstances, it's blue on top and red on the bottom.
Okay.
And on one end of the flag, on the flagpole side, you have a triangle shape, and on that triangle you'll find a yellow sun right in the middle and stars around it.
stars around a yellow sun, and the triangle is...
It's, I believe, colored white.
It's a white color?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And moving into questions 8 and 9, the majority of women and men appearance. What does the typical Filipino appearance look like?
Typical Filipino looks just like me.
Yeah. No hair?
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. But we have brown skin and black hair and brown eyes.
Dark features.
Dark
generally.
features, yeah. And I'm considered slightly above average as far as height.
Okay.
But
and you are how tall?
I'm about 6 foot. So
6 foot, that's about 180 centimeters?
Thereabouts,
yeah.
And then, but the typical Filipino male would be generally fall under 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And the same goes actually for the women. They have the typical Filipina has brown skin.
So Filipino men, Filipina women?
For women.
Masculine and feminine.
That's correct.
Got it.
Yeah, and they have brown skin,
mm-hmm.
black hair, brown eyes,
and different shades of brown,
brown,
the islands.
And typically shorter than the male, of course.
Okay.
But yeah, and a good adjective to use for that would be Malayan. Feature. So we would be close in appearance to the people of Indonesia, for example, or Malaysia.
Right. Yeah. All relatively related.
Exactly.
At some point in the past.
In the past.
Okay. And the next question is about minorities. So can you tell us what minorities live in the Philippines?
Okay. So general population consists of people with Malayan features, but owing to the history of the Philippines, we do have a significant number of people with Chinese features, as well as Spanish features. So those would be the two main minority groups that I would say can be found in the Philippines.
So you've had people coming from China and Spain predominantly.
Exactly.
Over the past.
Exactly. And they would have a lighter complexion, more prominent noses, for example.
Is there anything else? Any other groups?
Yes, I forgot to mention that the Philippines, all over the Philippines, you can still find populations of native tribes, such as the Negritos and the Aitas.
Aitas, Negritos.
Yeah. And you can find that throughout the archipelago.
Right. Yeah. Too many to mention here.
Too many to mention.
7,000 islands.
That's true.
All right, got it. Okay, Lorenzo, we are now into Unit 3, food tastes and ingredients. So question 11 is about a traditional food that is eaten in the Philippines. 7,000 islands, I'm sure there are many different dishes. Tell us about one.
A good example of traditional Filipino food easily comes to my mind is the adobo.
Adobo. Okay, and I don't know what adobo is, so can you first describe the ingredients? What are the ingredients of adobo?
The main ingredient of adobo is the meat component, and as far as the meat, it can be pork, or it can be chicken, or it can be a combination of the two.
Pork or chicken? Pork or chicken,
or pork and chicken. So it depends on
so it's
how it's prepared.
It's just meat?
That's the main ingredient.
Okay, then what are the other ingredients?
And
if I were to make adobo, what would I need?
You're going to need soy sauce,
Yes.
vinegar,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of garlic,
Yum yum.
and some sugar, and sometimes potatoes,
Okay.
and yep, that's it.
That's it. It's primarily a meaty meal. So question 13 is the taste. How would you describe the taste of adobo?
Okay, adobo is going to be a little on the sour side.
Sour.
Sour,
Okay.
but the taste of the garlic is very prominent.
Strong.
It's very strong, and it has some juice coming from the vinegar and the soy sauce and the salt.
So it would be
Sometimes.
salty, a bit sour.
It's
meaty.
very meaty.
Is it smoky? How do you make it?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's smoky.
Do you make it in an oven or on the fire or yes?
What you do is you basically mix everything in a pot.
Okay.
And let the soy sauce and the vinegar seep into the meat. Blend all together with the garlic, and
Right.
it comes out really great and tasty. And
Okay, so it tastes tasty.
very.
And the next question is the smell. How does it smell?
It smells to me just perfect because of the garlic and the mixture of the vinegar and the soy sauce and the meat after it cooks a while in that mixture.
Smells perfect. Smells like the Philippines.
I would say
Mom's
so.
kitchen.
It smells like home.
Yeah.
Is how I would describe it.
Okay, yeah. Oftentimes smells do remind you of home or a significant event in your life.
Exactly.
And so I'm going to we have a pot of adobo. Now I have a piece and I bite into it. Question 15, what is the texture like?
The texture can be described as being very fibrous, because after you cook the meat for a while, it starts to disintegrate or to break down, and you bite into it, and then you can feel the strands of the meat in your mouth, mixed in with the flavor, and it's just
so a bit fibrous. Tasty. Is it a softer or a?
It's very chewy. Is
tough?
Is what
a little bit tough.
Just a tiny bit, but it's after you cook it, in that mixture, it just actually, if you do it just right, it'll melt in your mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so you have the adobo, maybe potato. Do you serve it with anything, like a side dish?
Rice. Which is the staple food of the Philippines. You just pour a scoop of that over white rice, and there you have the perfect Filipino meal.
Simple but tasty. Got it.
All right.
Sounds good. All right, Lorenzo, Unit 4 is weather, seasons, and landscapes. And question 16, what is the landscape like in the Philippines? It's, again, 7,000 islands. Give us a basic idea of what we can see.
Being an archipelago, the Philippines offers miles and miles, or kilometers and kilometers of coastline. So wherever you are in the Philippines, you're never too far from the beach.
Sounds good.
Which is ideal. Yeah, but we do have a significant portion of the land devoted to farming as well. The farming of rice in particular. So you do, you're driving around the countryside, you'll go through kilometers and kilometers of rice fields.
So generally flat valleys
that is home to very rich farming soil.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's which also gives rise to a lot of tropical fruits,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which you find all over the Philippines. Now, in the north, we do have a very prominent mountainous region.
Okay.
Baguio City, for example, is found in that region. Higher elevation, cooler temperatures, and Baguio, because of that, is a popular summer vacation spot.
Okay.
Yeah,
a bit cooler, maybe.
Very,
Cooler in the mountains.
yeah, very much so. And very mountainous. Even the fruits that are grown there are different. Strawberry, for example, is wildly cultivated in that region. So that's the northern part of the country. But as far as the rest of the country, it's generally flat. And as I said earlier, devoted to the farming of rice and corn and other crops.
And corn.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And vegetables, and you know.
And so there are a lot of trees, I presume, forests.
Yes, that's true, but they're not, you know, wild land per se.
Cultivated trees.
They're cultivated trees, and these trees, like I said earlier, are of the tropical kind. So mangoes, for example, can be found in many areas of the Philippines.
Coconut
Coconut trees, yeah, and the guava and avocados, you know, grow abundantly in the Philippines.
One of my favorites. Okay, and the next question is about seasons. So, how many seasons are in the Philippines?
There are two main seasons found in the Philippines, and
they are
wet and dry. So basically, you have a dry season, and then you have the rest of the year, which is, you know, characterized by those heavy monsoons and typhoons that we often see in the news.
Yeah. So two seasons, dry and wet. What is the weather like in the wet season? It's the longest season.
During the wet season, you can count on constant rain. It rains almost every day, and it's not, you know, a light rain. It's those heavy monsoon rains that will leave a street flooded for brief periods, and that's just talking about the typical rain. During the wet season, you also get the typhoons that blow through that general area of Asia, and almost every one of those typhoons goes through the Philippines. So that's when we get you know, massive flooding and destruction, the strong winds. So those are all can be found during the wet season. Yeah.
And the temperatures. So dry season, the temperatures would be hotter.
That's correct.
Obviously, than the wet season.
The wet season, well, it's always hot in the Philippines, no matter how you look at it. But during the wet season, it becomes especially humid. You know, because there's moisture.
Not the heat, it's the humidity.
It's the humidity that's gives. And the old cliche about you starting to perspire right after a shower. That's what you find in the Philippines, and
you never know when you're dry and you're always wet.
Exactly. And when when I was working in Manila, for example, I used to always bring a change of clothes, because by the end of the day, my shirt would be wet with perspiration, so I'll have to change it up. Or rain. Yeah, that's true. So, but
it's not sweat, it's rain.
Well, you never know. That's the thing. So. But it gets really humid during the wet season. But then the nice thing about that is, after a rain, you know, the air feels fresh until the moisture starts building up again, and then you have an endless cycle.
It's an endless cycle. Deal with it. And okay, so you mentioned typhoons. So the next question is about natural disasters. What are some natural disasters that the Philippines experiences?
The Philippines, as far as natural disasters, faces the typhoons, as I said, but also earthquakes.
Yeah.
The Philippines does lie in the volcanic ring of fire of Asia, so we do experience earthquakes quite often, as well as volcanic eruptions.
Okay, volcanoes.
There's volcanoes.
So the Philippines are the islands made from volcanic?
I believe at least in part.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
For example, my hometown in Bicol has one of the major volcanoes of the Philippines.
And is it active?
It is an active volcano. It last erupted in a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken, and it's called the Mayon volcano.
Mayon
volcano.
Okay.
It erupts quite frequently. The other Philippine volcano that may be familiar to most people is the Pinatubo. Pinatubo, yeah, which erupted a while back and spewed out a huge amount of pyroclastic materials that some say affected weather patterns, around the world. So
we are connected.
Yep.
You said monsoons, so heavy rains causes flooding,
mudslides,
landslides, flooding.
That's correct.
So those are all also disasters. Yeah.
Yep.
So no blizzards.
Nope, not really. Certainly.
Do you ever experience snow in the Philippines?
No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
It's not cool enough.
Yeah.
It's just
drought.
Drought, not really, because
wet and dry. So
because of the very heavy rainy season.
Okay.
It keeps the ground wet, nice and wet.
There you go.
Year round.
All right. Then the final question of Unit 4 is about holidays. So what is one important holiday in the Philippines?
My fellow Filipinos would be angry at me if I didn't say Christmas. Yeah, it's a very important holiday, a very important season in the Philippines, and old joke goes, as soon as September hits, we start celebrating Christmas.
Wow. So
and not long after that, Christmas songs start playing on the radio. We start shopping for gifts and things like that, and it all culminates in December. We start going to the dawn mass, and then
the morning masses.
Which you have to complete, and then on Christmas Eve you have the big feast with everyone in the family.
And you have Christmas trees.
We have Christmas trees.
Now the Philippines is, we already talked about the trees. You got the mango trees and the palm trees. Do you have fir, evergreen?
No, we go with artificial Christmas trees.
You buy the artificial tree.
Yeah, we keep it in a box the rest of the year, but come Christmas season, we
3/4 of the year, but then you get to use it for 3 months every year.
Exactly, it's never kept too long in the box. Yeah. So
okay, so it's generally it's a family.
Very family-oriented
holiday
time of the year, and very festive. Complete with food and music and tradition.
Any traditional food, like in America, United States, we have turkey and cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie.
Yeah. We have a whole slew of traditional Christmas foods, like the different varieties of the puto,
What's
or
puto?
rice cake.
Okay.
Yeah, and some suman,
Which is
also a kind of rice cake, but it's prepared differently and wrapped in banana leaves.
Okay.
Yeah, so
right.
you'll have to experience it to see what I mean.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Christmas is celebrated around the world, but every country has a unique way of celebrating.
That's
so
correct.
that's
And that's the
interesting.
beauty of it, too.
It is.
Yeah.
Definitely beauty in that.
Yep.
Okay, and starting Unit 5, we talk about ports, transportation, and accommodation. Question 21, the main international airport. We fly into the Philippines. Where do we fly to?
You fly into the Ninoy Aquino International Airport in Manila. Ninoy Aquino.
Ninoy?
That's correct. Ninoy Aquino International Airport in Manila.
In Manila. There's one main international airport.
That's correct.
And then I presume many other smaller
airports
throughout the islands.
Throughout the islands.
Okay, and so we fly into Ninoy
Aquino
Airport, International Airport, and we walk out. Hello, Manila. What are some modes of transportation that we can find and travel throughout the archipelago?
Taxis are one way of getting around.
Yeah.
Manila especially, but we also have buses.
Yes.
And jeepneys.
And jeepneys are pretty unique
to the Philippines.
Very colorful
and loud.
Are they cheap?
Very, very cheap.
Quite cheap. Okay.
Yeah, and it's found throughout the country, essentially. And in addition to that, you also have the tricycles.
Tricycle.
Yeah.
Is that the name of it? Tricycle.
That's what the vehicle is called. And
tricycle. Okay.
Yeah. It's basically
it's a motorized
motorcycle with a sidecar.
Okay.
With a roof.
Okay.
And that can take you wherever the jeepney or the bus can't.
So all of these have wheels, and we are on an island. We're gonna want to go to a different island. What are some transportation?
There's also ferries that you can take to get from one island to another.
Yes.
Or smaller boats, depending on where you're going exactly and how close is it.
And then of course flying.
And then there's also
smaller planes.
Small planes and and regular passenger aircraft, that can take you from one part of the country to another.
Okay. And the following question is we are in the Philippines, one of the islands, and we are tired. What would you say is a nice hotel to stay at?
A good example of a hotel would be the Manila Hotel, appropriately called. Yeah, it's found in Manila.
So then the next question is about the amenities. What are some amenities offered at Manila Hotel?
Manila Hotel, like any other, five-star hotel, has a swimming pool, a restaurant, and a gym.
One or many?
I don't know.
Have you been there? Have you stayed?
I have been there, but it has been a while.
Yeah, okay.
But it's a very historic hotel as well.
It's quite old.
It's quite old.
Okay.
One of the oldest hotels in the Philippines.
Anything else?
It also offers a lot of history, I would say. Some rooms are designated as historic because of the people who have stayed there. For example, General Douglas MacArthur during World War II stayed in one of the rooms, and I believe it's at least in part decorated to reflect that history.
Okay, all right. So the last question of Unit 5 is about money. What is the currency used in the Philippines? What's the name?
The currency is called the peso.
The peso. Okay. And so what is the exchange rate of pesos in U.S. dollars?
Currently, it's about 54 pesos to the U.S. dollar.
Okay. And on the peso, is there any important, figure, or is it landmarks? What can we find on the peso?
Actually, you do find a combination of the two.
Both,
It
yeah.
reflects national heroes or former presidents, but also important landmarks
Okay.
of the Philippines.
And we'll talk about those later.
Sounds good.
Yep. Okay, Unit 6 is Greetings, Gestures, and Customs. So, hello, Philippines. I am in the Philippines and I meet Filipino or Filipina. And so what is a basic polite greeting that is used?
When you're traveling around the Philippines, you'll most often will be greeted with a big smile.
So some
Okay.
body language is very important.
Oh yeah, and we love to smile,
Yeah.
but we also are quite generous with our wave,
Okay.
Yeah, we're just generally a very friendly people. And then, sometimes you'll also be greeted with the expression mabuhay,
Mabuhay.
which is a general expression of goodwill,
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the languages, you speak English and
Tagalog is the main language spoken and understood throughout the archipelago. But there are other languages spoken across the country, but Tagalog is the main one. Or sometimes it's called Filipino.
Or Tagalog. And then also English.
And also English, which is taught,
Taught
in
throughout
our schools.
Okay. And gestures. What gestures are used when greeting or just body gestures?
Like I said earlier, Filipinos are very generous with their smiles
Yes.
and a friendly wave. So you'll find that you'll be greeted with those gestures as you travel around the country.
And then when I'm greeting you, if I know you, shaking hands or
Shaking hands is a customary practice.
What about kissing?
Among close friends and family, especially, we'll offer a kiss. Yeah, but typically among acquaintances and friends, it's a good handshake.
Firm?
Very firm.
Very firm.
Very
Okay.
firm. And then from there you progress to an embrace, maybe, and then
good
a
hug.
kiss. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so we have good gestures and the opposite, impolite. What are some gestures that may be impolite in the Philippines we should know about?
Well, there's not really an impolite gesture such as those that you might find in other countries. Like, for example, where a certain gesture will be misconstrued, a certain way. There's not really one particular gesture that comes to mind when it comes to the Philippines.
Nothing that will someone sees it and they will be offended.
Exactly. There's not really one.
Middle finger,
it's universal. You don't ever do that unless you want trouble.
Yeah. Okay. So that's numero uno.
Yeah, that's correct.
Any no other hand gestures or winks?
No,
Or-
not really. A wink, depending on the context, can be considered a friendly,
that's true.
gesture. So, yeah.
So-
The one thing that I would maybe bring up as far as this point is you don't want to be too friendly to someone you just met. Like you wouldn't, hug the person or
Yeah, sure.
or kiss the person.
So it's common sense.
That's correct.
Use your common sense.
Yeah, if you're
basically.
not too sure, just play it safe. Just offer your hand.
Okay.
A handshake. I mean. And,
Yeah, I mean it's good to know.
That's
good to know, though. Good to ask.
Always. Yeah.
And customs. What are some customs that we can experience or that we should know about in the Philippines? Going into someone's home or eating customs, anything.
A unique custom in the Philippines is what's called the mano.
Mano.
The mano is used to show respect to an older person, like such as your parents or grandparents, but also older family relatives. And what you do is you hold the person's hand and you touch it to your forehead like this.
Okay.
So you and often it's also accompanied by a slight bow. So you bow before the person and hold his or her hand and touch it to your forehead like that.
So the back of the hand to your forehead, and that's
is touched
respect.
to your forehead, and that's shown. That's used to show respect. You also do that to, let's say, the parish priest.
Okay.
Or a community leader sometimes. Yeah. So I don't know of any other culture. Of course, I don't know all cultures, but I don't know of any other culture that does the same thing.
Yeah, I don't either. That's the first time I think I've heard of it.
Yep.
Two hands up, but the
mano,
touching of the head.
Yeah, quite unique.
So you did mention you do the mano with a priest, parish priest. The next question is about religion. So what religions are practiced in the Philippines?
Yeah, the Philippines is primarily a Catholic country. Almost everyone is baptized a Catholic and
really
and goes through the sacraments of the Catholic Church. We receive Holy Communion.
Right.
Of course, the sacrament of marriage. We go through that in church. The funeral rites are conducted within a Catholic context.
Are there any other religions that are found
and
outside of Catholicism?
And there's also a sizable portion of Muslims in the Philippines, primarily in the south. And that's about it,
So Buddhism?
Not in any
Hinduism,
significant number at all.
Small.
So I would say it's Christianity primarily and Islam.
All right, Lorenzo, Unit 7 is landmarks, activities, and things to do.
All right.
Where would you suggest is a good place to go sightseeing in the Philippines?
Boracay Island.
Okay.
Very popular tourist destination, and for good reason.
Yes, what is that reason?
Beautiful white sand with warm beach water and good places to eat at and friendly people. It's a great experience for anyone.
In Boracay, Manila, where
it's
is
located south
of Manila.
Okay.
One more?
I would suggest Mayon volcano. Seeing Mayon volcano in my hometown.
Okay.
It really is something else, especially if you go up close when it's not erupting, of course.
Yes.
But
safety first.
It has an almost perfect cone shape.
Okay.
Yeah,
and the name?
And it's called Mayon volcano. Mayon volcano.
Not your own volcano.
No, not my own. Mayon volcano.
Mayon in your hometown.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. How about some famous landmarks throughout the Philippines is the next question. What are some famous landmarks?
In Manila, a famous landmark is the Intramuros. That's the old walled city of Manila. The
old walled
walled
city. Okay.
of Manila. That was built by the Spanish during the Spanish occupation of the Philippines. That was Manila back in the day.
Okay.
And it's the most of the buildings are preserved. They've all been turned into museums or restaurants.
Sounds
but the general structure is still there, and it's something else to see. Gives a lot of history.
Right.
You know.
Spanish history. Thus,
exactly.
Tagalog is a lot of similarities with Spanish.
That's correct. Yeah.
One more.
Also in Manila, at the Luneta Park, there is a monument to the great Filipino hero, Jose Rizal, and you'll find that statue, that monument.
Who's Jose Rizal?
Jose Rizal was a important figure in the Philippine Revolution against Spain.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was executed by Spain for his for the work that he did that promoted independence.
I see.
From Spain.
Okay.
You know, and the good thing about it is he was not. His work wasn't in the military zone, but he wrote novels and he wrote poems. He was a doctor,
a bit more
a
passive,
poet,
pacifist.
A passive
fighter.
Freedom fighter.
Pacifist freedom fighter.
Yeah, great example. Jose Rizal.
Kind of like Mahatma Gandhi also was a pacifist, but you can move mountains with
brush of a pen.
Yeah. The pen is mightier than the sword.
And Jose Rizal proved it.
There you go. Good lesson. Okay, activities. What are some activities that Filipinos enjoy doing?
We enjoy getting together with friends and family during holidays. We're very family oriented and tightly knit, and
so when you're together with the families, what activities do you do?
Almost always the activity revolves around food. So there's a participation by everyone in the preparation of food.
So
eating,
the
enjoyment of food,
eating,
cooking, and maybe going to the beach or.
What about music?
Yeah, we enjoy going to concerts, and music is a huge part of Philippine cultural life. We have a lot of singers and
entertainers.
Yeah.
Okay, and the next question, Lorenzo, is about an activity that you enjoy. You enjoy now or when you were young. The question is, where is a good place to do an activity that you enjoy? Can you tell us a little bit?
Filipinos love gathering the family in the big house, as we call it.
The big house.
Every family has a ancestral home where maybe the grandparents used to live, and where we gather during special occasions or during holidays. So
you keep and maintain the big house.
That's correct.
And
that's where everyone goes,
reunions,
and meets everyone and have a reunion. And then there may be more than one such house in a family. So sometimes we'll travel to visit that other home, and then we'll gather there.
And so now you mentioned the Filipino people. They are very familial. They love their families, and they're Catholic. What would you say is an average size family? How many would be?
Too many to count. Because you're always, as it happens, meeting new family.
But okay, so let's say your family, your immediate family, mother, father, Lorenzo. How many siblings did you have?
Growing up, I had 4 siblings.
Okay, that's not that big.
Not that big, but that's the thing in the Philippines.
Modern day,
when you say family, you don't just mean your immediate family.
But
you mean the extended family, the grandparents are there, the uncles and the aunts, the cousins.
The more the merrier.
The more the merrier.
Yeah,
that
all
is so
board.
True in the Philippines.
All on the jeepney. Let's go.
Oh yeah, that's the way we
load
roll.
up the jeepney. Okay. The final question of Unit 7 is people watching. I enjoy people watching, going somewhere, relaxing, and just watching the day. How about in the Philippines? Where is a good place to go people watching in the Philippines?
Yeah. Well. The church, oddly enough, people don't just go to church on Sunday for mass, but it's also an opportunity to see other people you don't normally see.
It's a social event.
It becomes a social event, truthfully speaking, because after mass, you stay and chat for a while with people, or at least wave at them, and then
Oh, I love your dress.
and then
Did you see what she was wearing today?
Offer compliments on what people are wearing. So it does become a lot of ways a social event. So and then speaking of tradition, after the Sunday mass, people usually go to a restaurant to eat, and then who knows whom you might see at the restaurant. So it is very interesting how that dynamic works on Sundays in Filipino culture.
Sundays are fun days.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people watching during that time. Filipino watching.
Filipino watching. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Sounds good. Lorenzo, guess what?
What?
This is Unit 8. This is the final unit. Music, pop, culture, and famous people. This is one of my favorite units. And the first question is about music. We already mentioned the Filipino people enjoy music, but what kinds of music are popular in the Philippines?
Yeah, we love a good love song. Filipinos are a sentimental bunch. Up to now, I would say, and we appreciate a good sentimental love
ballad.
song, a good ballad. Yeah, and both in terms of appreciating it and singing, offering your own take on that song at the karaoke, during a party.
So you do enjoy karaoke? You have karaoke rooms?
Oh yeah, and every home has its own karaoke, or as it's it happens, the videoke, videoke system. So I myself couldn't sing if my life depended on it, but
so I won't ask.
So don't ever ask me. Don't ever go there, because it won't be good.
It's not pretty.
But everyone else can give you can belt out a love song or two when called upon. So.
Do you have a karaoke machine in your home?
We had one when I was growing up.
Then you broke it?
Then I didn't even touch it, because I was afraid I would break it.
Okay, so you like ballads. Are there any traditional Filipino genres?
Yes, there are, but again, it falls under that general category of love song.
Okay,
It's called, for example, the Kundiman.
Kundiman.
Kundiman. It's very unique, and it's a kind of love song.
Okay,
and,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's talk about famous people. Question 37. What famous people are from the Philippines? Can you give us 2 or maybe 3 people?
I think these days the boxer Manny Pacquiao still rings a bell to to most people.
Yeah, he's been fighting for many years now.
And still fighting. From what I've heard, but he's still a sitting congressman in.
He's a politician now
in the Philippines. That's correct. So he's definitely a famous,
well loved around the world as well.
Yeah, that's true. But another good example of a famous Filipina is Lea Salonga.
Lea Salonga.
Lea Salonga.
And who is that?
Is her name, and she's a singer and actress, but she's become world famous a while back, actually, for her role in Miss Saigon.
Miss Saigon, a movie?
No, it was a play.
It's a play, okay. Broadway?
Staged in London's West End.
Okay.
Yeah, originally. And then also in Les Miserables.
Okay.
I believe.
All right.
Yeah, so
theater.
Yeah, in the field of theater, she would be, famous Filipina. And then
one more?
I hate to mention it, but Ferdinand Marcos, the dictator from the 70s and 80s, who was ousted in the People Power Revolution.
Right.
Finally.
Yeah, Ferdinand.
Yep.
And his wife.
And his wife Imelda.
Imelda and all
Marcos,
of her.
With her famous or infamous shoe collection.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah, that was big news back in the day.
Big news back in the day, and thankfully
brighter days.
Relatively
speaking. So we're going to go from Ferdinand into the next question, who is the current president or leader. Now, you have a president?
That's
president.
correct.
So who is the president of the Philippines?
Yeah, his name is Rodrigo Duterte.
Rodrigo Duterte. And so the term limit for a president in the Philippines is how long?
Is 6 years.
So it's one 6-year term?
It's just one 6-year term.
And then
that's it. You
out
can't
with the old, in with the new.
Re-election. That's correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, and the next question, question 39, is about subcultures. Are there any unique subcultures that you know of in the Philippines?
Nothing comes to mind really when it comes to that, because of our Catholic traditions, perhaps. The Filipino people is really very homogeneous group.
Go along to get along.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And, you can rest assured, everybody, goes to Sunday Mass and goes through all the sacraments.
Right. Okay, so it's a.
There are exceptions, of course.
Sure, thus subculture.
Exactly.
Not the mainstream, but underneath.
Yeah.
Biker gangs.
No such thing.
No?
Nope.
No biker gangs.
No biker gangs. Ballroom dancing crowd, maybe, but that's that's a stretch.
Okay, all right.
Everyone enjoys.
So homogenous. Everybody likes to get along and one big happy country family.
Exactly.
Then we'll move into the last question, Lorenzo.
Let's.
Question 40 is about the flower. What is the national flower of the Philippines?
It's called the Sampaguita.
Sampaguita.
It's small white flower
Okay.
that is sometimes strung together to form a lei or a necklace.
A layer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So when you go to the Philippines, do they put
They,
them?
not really.
Not like Hawaii.
No, but they'll sometimes put that around the neck of a religious image, for
Oh,
example,
okay,
of a Virgin Mary. They'll do that
Okay.
at the church. Yeah, it's made with a flower, a beautiful and
So it's always white. It's a white
exactly.
flower.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's called the sampaguita.
Sampaguita. Lorenzo, how do you say thank you in Tagalog?
Salamat.
Salamat. Salamat.
You're welcome. Walang
right.
anuman.
All right. Thank you very
Pleasure.
much. It's been a pleasure seeing you again. Like I said at the beginning, it's been many years, and it's been a pleasure and an education, hopefully, for our viewers as well. And until next time, my name is Stephen Walker. This is Lorenzo Paran III. Say goodbye.
Goodbye.